But we're going to be starting with Demon Hunter.
Yes.
So, yes, the new
So
stuff.
this.
The best stuff.
All right. So, first up here, we have... Oh, is it showing on the screen? Oh my goodness. All right, there we go. Emulation Aura. It is a 2-mana spell. Deal 1 damage to all minions twice. What's everybody think?
It's pretty efficient removal. I think you can play it in control decks would probably like it. Mid-range decks would probably like it. Seems pretty good to me.
What did you rate it?
I think I have this one at a 3.
All right.
Oh, maybe we should talk about our rating scale here.
Yes. So we are going off of a 1 through 4 rating here. So 1 being unplayable, 2 being fringe, 3 playable, and 4 powerful. So, I myself, I don't know. I gave it a 2. I think it can maybe see some uses, but it felt like they had a lot of rush and attacking with their hero, so I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if you want to be using removal as well. You're probably going to be using a lot of your minions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I also gave it a 2, and I feel like with the Demon Hunter, there's really 2 things they're trying to do with it. Is this really quick aggro rush, and then there's this other, like the other cards that are more like big demons, control, and I don't think no one's thinking big demons is going to be good enough. They're pretty slow, they're not very powerful, and I think this card would go in the big demon side and not really in the outcast, really quick side.
I gave this one a 3. I think it's going to be pretty good in some of the quicker decks. You're going to have a lot of small creatures on the board, and once those are gone, you're going to want to be able to get rid of their creatures too. This is going to help pop a lot of Divine Shields. It's going to help get rid of some of their Reborn minions and help you get rid of some of the stuff that they're going to want to trade into your side of the board before you kind of try to refill it.
Okay. And looks like Itachi gave it a 2 as well. And Krakowak did score it at a 1. He did want me to mention that he is not on the same level as, like, we're a lot of legend players, you know, very competitive. But he wanted to put his scores in and kind of represent all of the players who are, you know, kind of in that, like, 10 to 15 especially type range, or who, you know, aren't competing and that kind of stuff. More casual type players. But he plays a lot of, like, aggro type decks, so his kind of argument was that he doesn't like that it hits all minions because he doesn't want to be clearing his own board, since generally he plays a lot of decks that build boards. Okay. There we go. All right, second card, Nether Walker here. 2 mana, 2/2 minion with a battle cry, discover a demon. Let's see, I personally gave this a 4, and I think, yeah, it looks like I rated this the highest out of everybody. I think this is just a solid 2-drop that gets you some value. It's a, you know, the stat line is good, 2 for a 2/2, and you also get to discover something additional that you can play out.
I think I put this one at a 2, yeah. I feel like it's not that great as like an early game minion. I think the only time I'd probably play it is if I can't find anything else to play on 2, which when I was looking through all their cards, I couldn't find how many things I wanted to do on turn 2, besides like the weapon that they have, the Umber Wing. So I think I would throw it in there if I didn't have something to play, but otherwise, I feel like it's not that aggressive, and I don't think you really need to be discovering things if you're playing like an aggressive kind of Demon Hunter deck. But it might be good in like a mid-rangey, maybe like a Highlander deck.
Yeah, I have it as a 3. You'll be happy to play it. It's definitely a playable card, but I don't think it's going to be too powerful. A lot of the discovery stuff that I think you're going to want to do with this card might be a little bit too slow.
I think did I give it a 1 or a 2? I forget.
Looks like a 1.
I think this also goes in that big demons kind of. It's slow for an aggressive to mid-range deck. But there's also talk of a Highlander Demon Hunter deck, and I can see it going in the Highlander version.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Okay.
If you're lucky enough to discover a Fellwing with this, a Furious Fellwing, then you're on point. If you can slam that on turn 3 after the Nether Walker, then you're going to be rolling pretty hard.
Yeah. There's also quite a few demons in the pool now, so that's going to be interesting. But it looks like Krakoek agrees with Bitbeaker. He also gave it a 3, and Itachi agrees with Christine and gave it a 1. So we're kind of a little bit all over the board with this one. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. Ashtongue Battlelord. It is a 4 mana 3/5 with Taunt and Lifesteal. I don't know. I gave it a 2. I think it might be used, like, maybe if there's a really aggressive meta, you can slot this into something, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to see, like, a ton of play.
Yeah, I feel like you probably only play this as like a one-of in a Highlander deck, or if the meta's like very, very aggressive. Otherwise, it's not really what you want to be doing in Demon Hunter, I don't think.
I can't see it fitting a Demon Hunter at all. The stat line's not great. I don't know if you want to gain much life. You're much more aggressive. Yeah, I gave it a 1.
The thing with Demon Hunter, and the reason that I gave it a 3 being a playable card, is the Taunt and the Lifesteal. You're going to be doing a lot of damage with your hero power, and you're going to be taking a lot of damage, and you're going to need a way to get that life back. Being that it's a Taunt minion, they're going to have no choice but to trade into it to get rid of it, and you're going to regain some of that life. So I think this is going to do a lot for the class.
That's interesting. I think it looks like Krakoek, again, agreed there, put a 3. I think he was saying some of the same reasons there, like, you know, kind of expecting more aggro, especially if Demon Hunter is really popular. It's kind of a in-your-face class. And Itachi looks like he rated it a 2. So we're kind of... None of us are really saying it's the best, but maybe some uses. All right. Go ahead and move on to the next one here. Crimson Sigil Runner, a 1 mana 2/1 with Outcast, draw a card. Let's see. I rated this a 4. I think it's actually pretty strong. Like, especially if Outcast is a whole new thing, and it's really interesting. If you can start the game with this all the way to the left and just keep it in your hand and then just play it right out on turn 1, like, you get a 2/1 on the first turn and you get to draw a card. But later, if you top deck it, you also get to just play it that turn and draw a card. So kind of some cycle, and it's really not that bad.
I think I gave it a 3, yeah. This card's pretty good, but it sort of seems like a 1 mana 2/1 draw card, but it's a bit worse because if you get in like the middle of your hand at the start of the game, you're gonna have like a 1 mana 2/1 that's dead in your hand, and you're not gonna be able to play it. Well, you're not gonna want to play a 1 mana 2/1, especially because it dies to the Demon Hunter hero power, which will probably be very popular. So even though it's like pretty efficient to play, and if you have it on your left side or right side, it's obviously really, really good. I think it might get a bit dead in your hand if you have it in the middle.
I give this a 4. If at any point you get this card in your hand and it's not during the mulligan, it's just a better Novice Engineer.
I think I ended up giving it a 3. I mean, it's definitely solid. It's going to go in the Outcast deck. It's going to be the staple for Demon Hunter, but I don't think it's groundbreaking. I don't think it's like going to shift the meta like crazy, but it's definitely really playable.
No, I mean, it's not going to shift the meta or anything, but I think this card goes in pretty much every Demon Hunter deck. It doesn't matter what archetype you're playing.
It could be harder with bigger demons. Like if you have a big demon, you could kind of mess it up a little. But yeah, like a mid range for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty good cycle.
Yeah. It looks like Krakoak and Itachi both also gave it a 4, so 3s and 4s across the board, so pretty solid at least, even, you know, little discrepancy between whether it's going to be overpowered or not, but pretty good scores. All right, so next card here, Coil Fang Warlord, an 8-mana 9/5 with Rush and Death Rattle. Summon a 5/9 Warlord with Taunt. Let's see. This one, I gave a 2. I don't know. I'm not really sold on this. Generally, big stuff has to be pretty good to see play. I just don't know how much I like this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's also not a demon.
Yeah, that's true. I think that the problem is if you play an 8-mana 9/5 and you don't kill it off, it's really, really bad. Like, you really need it to die when you attack into something and get the taunt. Otherwise, you're really not doing much for 8 mana. And also, if rogues are popular, which I think they definitely will be, they have that new, like, 1-mana sap a minion for, like, 2 extra. And that's going to be pretty bad on this thing. Because the token East one also costs 8 mana.
Yeah, this does certainly have to die when you play it so you can get that 5/9 taunt. Because I think that's really the crux of the card right there. You need to kill a big minion and then get that 5/9 body on the board.
I feel like I ended up giving this a 3, but the more I think about it, it's a 2. I think it has great stats for an 8 and what it does, but getting to 8 and it not being a demon is a big drawback.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of these that I kind of scored lower, especially the things that don't have like the demon tag or some of the other kind of weirdly statted minions, I feel like they made some of these, and where they're going to be important is you're not going to be playing them in your deck, but they're going to come up when you play things like, for the demon tags, if anybody's playing Galakron Warlock off of the Galakron Battlecry, that's when it's going to be important. And for some of the other ones, a lot of the like evolve effects, so like off of lackeys or with a lot of the shaman stuff that we'll talk about later. I feel like that's where some of this stuff is really going to kind of, you'll see it there, but I don't know if people are going to be playing them in the deck.
Yeah, actually Galakron Warlock got a pretty big buff. There are a lot of good demons now that you can get off that.
Alright, so Krakoak actually gave this a 4. He kind of likes the death rattle and the value that you get from that. Seems like there might not be as much silence going around, so death rattle effects seem pretty good. And Itachi gave it a 3.